The video call connected at 3 a.m. My grandfather's face filled the screen, gaunt, pale, oxygen tubes in his nose. "Yoana," he said in Korean, voice barely a whisper. "I don't have much time. Please, I need to see you, to hold my great-granddaughter, to tell you what they did to your appa." His eyes filled with tears. "Please don't let me die without meeting you." The call ended. I sat in the dark holding Hana, crying. My whole life I'd believed I had no family, and now the only family searching for me was begging to see me before he died. Hana stirred against my chest, making soft sounds in her sleep. 3 months old, and already she looked like both her father's dark hair, strong features. I'd been so focused on building this family with Jae-hyuk and Min-seo that I'd stopped thinking about the one I'd lost. But my grandfather's face wouldn't leave my mind. Those eyes, exactly like mine, like my Omega father's in the few photos I had left. "Johan?" Min-seo appeared in the nursery doorway, hair messy from sleep. "What's wrong?" I couldn't speak, just turned my phone toward him so he could see the call log. "Seoul. 3 minutes ago." He crossed the room immediately, sitting beside me on the floor. His hand found mine. "He called you." I nodded. "He's dying. Wants to meet Hannah. Wants to tell me what happened to my father." My voice cracked. "I've known about him for 3 weeks. The lawyer called after." I stopped. After everything with Sung-ho and the restaurant and the media storm, I was going to reach out. I just needed time to process. "And now he's running out of time," Min-seo finished gently. "What if he dies before I get there? What if I waited too long because I was scared?" Min-seo pulled me against his side, careful not to disturb Hana. "Then we don't wait anymore. We go. Now. It's Seoul. It's halfway across the world with a 3-month-old. It's family." His voice was firm. "And you deserve to know yours." Jae-hyuk found us like that 20 minutes later, me still on the nursery floor, Hana asleep in my arms, Min-seo holding us both. "What happened?" He read our faces immediately. "Johan's grandfather called," Min-seo said. "He's dying. We need to get to Seoul." Jae-hyuk's expression shifted from concern to determined in seconds. "I'll call the pilot. We can be in the air in 6 hours." "Jae-hyuk." "No." He knelt in front of me, hands on my knees. "You've spent your whole life losing family. We're not letting you lose this one because of logistics. Pack what you need. I'll handle everything else." 4 hours later, our bedroom looked like a disaster zone. Baby supplies covered every surface. I'd never traveled internationally with an infant before and kept second-guessing what we needed. Do we have enough formula? What if she gets sick on the plane? What if... We have everything. Jae-hyuk's hands settled on my shoulders. "And if we forgot something, Seoul has stores." My phone buzzed. The lawyer, Mr. Park, with flight details and hotel arrangements. Then another message. From a number I didn't recognize. I opened it. A photo loaded. My stomach dropped. It was Hana. Asleep in her crib, taken from inside her nursery. Tonight, while we were packing, below the image, a message. "Bring the baby to Seoul and she dies. Your grandfather's time is running out. Choose wisely." My hands started shaking so badly I nearly dropped the phone. "Jae-hyuk," I whispered. He took the phone from me. His entire body went rigid. "Min-seo," he called out, voice deadly calm. "Get in here, now." Min-seo appeared within seconds, saw the phone, and his expression turned to ice. "Someone was in our house," he said quietly. "In Hana's room. Tonight. Security didn't catch anyone on cameras?" I asked desperately. Jae-hyuk was already pulling up the security app. His jaw clenched. "Footage from the nursery camera is corrupted. Just that camera. Just the last 2 hours. They wanted us to know," Min-seo said. "This isn't a random threat. Someone knows we're planning to go to Seoul. Someone knows about your grandfather." I looked at Hana, still sleeping peacefully in her bassinet, completely unaware that someone had stood over her crib tonight, that someone had threatened her life. "We can't take her," I said, voice breaking. If someone's willing to come into our home, we're not leaving her here either, Jae-hyuk interrupted. Whoever did this proved they can get to her here. At least in Seoul we'll know who we're dealing with. You don't know that. Your grandfather does. Min Seo's voice was firm. He said he needed to tell you what they did to your father. He knows who your enemies are. Here, we're blind. There we have information. They threatened to kill our daughter. And they just showed us they can reach her anywhere. Jae-hyuk pulled me against him. We're not running from this, Johan. We're not hiding. We go to Seoul together. We meet your grandfather. We find out who's behind this, and we end them. I looked between my husbands, both of them radiating that controlled fury I recognized from the restaurant, that ruthless protection that had made them billionaires and made our enemies regret crossing us. Together, I repeated. Always, Min Seo confirmed. I picked up my phone and stared at the threatening message, at the photo of my sleeping daughter taken by someone who'd invaded our home. Fear tried to choke me. The old Johan would have run, would have hidden, would have chosen safety over confrontation. But I'd learned something over the past year. Sometimes the only way to protect your family was to face the people trying to destroy it. I deleted the message and looked at my husbands. Then we go. All of us. And whoever sent this just made their first mistake. What's that? Jae-hyuk asked. They threatened my child. I met his eyes. They're about to learn what happens when you corner a parent with nothing left to lose. Min Seo smiled. Sharp and dangerous. That's my Omega. 6 hours later, we boarded the private jet. Hana slept in my arms. The twins flanked me on either side. And somewhere ahead of us, in a hospital in Seoul, my dying grandfather waited. Behind us, someone watched. But I was done being afraid. My grandfather's hand trembled as he touched my face. You look exactly like him, he whispered in Korean. Exactly like my son. Then he saw Hana in my arms and started crying. A great-granddaughter. Your Appa would be so proud. He reached for her tiny hand with fingers that shook from more than just age. Those were the last coherent words he said before everything went wrong. His eyes rolled back. The machines started screaming. Harabeoji. I stepped forward, but nurses were already rushing in, pushing me back. Out, please, one said in accented English. We need room to work. Jae-hyuk's hand gripped my shoulder as doctors swarmed around my grandfather's bed. Through the chaos, I saw his chest heaving, oxygen mask being pressed to his face, someone checking his IV line. The door closed in my face. I stood there holding Hana, watching through the window as they fought to stabilize the only family I had left from my Omega father's side. Mr. Kang, a woman's voice behind me. I turned. She was in her 50s, elegant in a dark dress, with kind eyes that looked too much like mine, like my grandfather's, like my Omega father's in the few photos I had. I'm Kang Mireille, she said. Your grandfather's younger sister, your great-aunt. She smiled, but her eyes were on Hana. And this must be the baby. Oh, she's beautiful. Something about the way she looked at my daughter made my arms tighten. Mireille C. A man approached, 60-something, commanding presence in an expensive suit. Let the boy breathe. He just got here. This is Kang Siwon, Mireille said. Your grandfather's brother, your great-uncle. Siwon's smile didn't reach his eyes. We've been waiting a long time to meet you, Johan, though I wish it were under better circumstances. He glanced at the hospital room. Daejung has been declining rapidly. The call to you was his last burst of energy, I think. What happened to him? I asked. Just now, I mean. His heart is weak, a younger man said, joining us. Mid-30s, handsome, with the easy confidence of someone used to getting his way. I'm Taejun, Siwon's son. That makes me your uncle, technically, even though I'm only 35. He grinned. This is wild, right? Finding out you have a whole family in Korea? Very wild, I said carefully. A woman about my age hung back, watching with sharp eyes. She didn't introduce herself. That's Yuna, Taejun said, following my gaze. Mireille's daughter, your aunt. Yuna's expression suggested she didn't appreciate being introduced like that. I'm 28, she said flatly. Calling me your aunt is ridiculous. But technically correct. An older Omega man in a neat suit approached last, bowing slightly. Mr. Kang. I'm Lee Jiwoo, your grandfather's executive secretary. I've prepared the guest house for you and your family. Whenever you're ready, we should let them rest, Mireille said, though her eyes kept drifting to Hana. It's been a long flight. Daejung is in good hands here. I didn't want to leave. Didn't want to walk away from my grandfather when I'd only just met him. But Hana was starting to fuss, and I was so tired my bones ached. The estate is 10 minutes away, Siwon added. You can return first thing in the morning. The Kang estate looked like something from a movie. Traditional Korean architecture mixed with modern luxury, sprawling grounds, security gates. Our guest house alone was bigger than most apartments. Someone knew we were bringing a baby, Jae-hyuk observed, looking at the fully stocked nursery. Secretary Lee shifted uncomfortably. Mr. Kang requested we prepare everything for his great-granddaughter. He was very specific about what she might need. After Lee left, Minseo checked every window, every lock, every camera. We're isolated out here, he said. That's the point, Jae-hyuk replied. Keep us away from the main house. Away from whatever they don't want us to see. You think they're hiding something? I think your grandfather tried to warn you and couldn't finish. Jae-hyuk looked at me. And I think everyone we met tonight had a reason to want you gone. I wanted to argue. Wanted to believe my family wasn't full of people who'd threaten a baby to keep an inheritance. But I'd learned the hard way that family could be the cruelest. Hana fell asleep after I fed her. I put her in the crib, watched her tiny chest rise and fall, and felt that familiar fierce protectiveness surge through me. Nothing happens to her, I said quietly. Nothing, both twins agreed. I woke to the sound of breaking glass. For a second, I thought I was dreaming. Then I heard Minseo's shout and Hana's scream, and my body moved before my mind caught up. I grabbed my cane and ran. The nursery was chaos. Minseo grappling with a dark figure by the window, Jae-hyuk diving into the fight. Hana wailing in her crib. I lunged for my daughter, scooped her up, pressed her against my chest. The attacker kicked Minseo hard enough to send him stumbling, then crashed through the already broken window and disappeared into the night. Jae-hyuk started to follow, but Minseo grabbed his arm. Let them go. Make sure Johan and Hana are okay. Blood dripped from cuts on Minseo's arms. Glass glittered in his hair. You're hurt, I said. I'm fine. He looked at Hana, face going pale. I heard something. Came to check. There was someone standing over her crib with a pillow. My stomach dropped. They were going to... I stopped them. His voice shook. I got here in time. Lights blazed on across the estate. Security came running. And within minutes, the guest house living room filled with my newly discovered family. Great Uncle Siwon in a silk robe, face drawn. This is impossible. Our security is comprehensive. Great Aunt Mireille clutching her chest. Oh my God, who would hurt a baby? Uncle Taejin on his phone, barking orders. I want every camera checked, every guard questioned. Aunt Yuna stood silent in the corner, watching everything with those sharp eyes, and Secretary Lee, pale as death, wouldn't meet my gaze. The nursery camera was disabled, Jae-hyuk reported coldly. Just like at home. Someone with access to our security systems did this. That's not possible, Siwon insisted. Unless... He looked at his security chief. Check for internal breaches. Everyone talking, everyone asking questions, everyone performing concern. But one of them had just tried to kill my daughter. One of them was standing in this room right now, lying to my face. We're moving to a hotel, Jae-hyuk said. Tonight. No. Everyone looked at me. I held Hana closer, met each pair of eyes in that room. We're not running. Not from my family. Not from whoever wants us gone. Johan Minseo started. My grandfather is dying. He tried to tell me something important. Something about how my Omega father died. I looked at Siwon, at Mireille, at Taejun and Yuna, and Secretary Lee. Someone in this family knows what he was trying to say. Someone doesn't want me to find out, and someone just proved they'll kill to keep that secret. Mireille's hand went to her throat. You can't possibly think one of us. I don't know what to think, I interrupted. I met all of you 4 hours ago, but I know someone tried to murder my child tonight, and I know I'm not leaving until I find out who. Silence fell. Taejun broke it first. Then we help you. Family protects family, right? We'll find whoever did this. Starting with a full security audit, Siwon added. No stone unturned. They all agreed, all promised to help, all swore they wanted justice. And I didn't believe a single one of them. 5 people stood to inherit my grandfather's empire if I disappeared. By the end of the week, I'd have tea with all of them. One of them had already tried to kill my daughter. I just had to figure out which one before they tried again. Morning came too soon. Hana wouldn't let me put her down, clinging to me like she knew how close she'd come to dying. Minseo's ribs were wrapped, cuts on his arms bandaged. Jae-hyuk was on the phone with his security team, arranging for people he actually trusted. We're moving you to the East Wing, Great-Uncle Siwon announced over breakfast. More secure. Our people will guard the perimeter. We'll use our own security, Jae-hyuk said flatly. Siwon's smile tightened. Of course, whatever makes you comfortable. Nothing about this made me comfortable. The hospital let me visit my grandfather alone. The twins stayed with Hana, we weren't letting her out of our sight. My grandfather looked smaller in the daylight. Frailer, like he was disappearing into the white sheets. His eyes opened when I touched his hand. Yo-hana, he whispered. I'm here, Harabioji. His grip strengthened. Your appa. He found out. The company, built on blood. My pulse quickened. Found out what? Trust no one. His breathing labored, except the Chua. They know, ask them, about the dinner, 18 years. What dinner? Harabioji, please. But his eyes had closed again, machines beeping steadily beside him. I sat there holding his hand, trying to piece together fragments. My Omega father found something. The twins' parents knew about it. There was a dinner 18 years ago, and my grandfather trusted the Choi family. The same family whose parents died 6 months after my Omega father. That evening, Great-Aunt Mireille insisted on a proper family dinner to welcome me. The dining room could seat 30. Tonight it held 8. Mireille at one end, smiling warmly. We're so happy you're here, Johan. Your grandfather has wanted this for so long. Great-Uncle Siwon raised his glass. To family. Finally reunited. I didn't drink. Uncle Taejun sat across from me, friendly and relaxed. So, the twins, how'd you guys meet? It's kind of wild that they brought you all the way to Korea. They're my husbands, I said evenly. Where I go, they go. Of course, of course. I just meant their parents knew your father, right? Small world. My hand tightened on my fork. How did you know that? Oh, Dad mentioned it, Taejun gestured at Siwon. Business connections, I guess? Siwon's expression remained neutral. Many families in our circles knew each other. Seoul's business community is smaller than you'd think. Aunt Yuna spoke for the first time, voice cold. Let's not pretend this is a social visit. Johan's here for the inheritance, we all know it. Yuna, Mirai said sharply. What? It's true. Yuna looked at me directly. You show up out of nowhere. Disabled, no business experience, married to men you've known less than a year, and we're supposed to just hand you a multi-billion-dollar company. I didn't ask for any of this, I said quietly, but you're not refusing it either. Silence fell over the table. Secretary Lee sat at the far end, barely touching his food, eyes downcast. When I tried to catch his gaze, he looked away. The company needs strong leadership, Siwon said smoothly. I've been running Kang Corporation for 20 years. Perhaps we could discuss a transition plan, gradual handover. I could mentor you. Johan. How convenient for you, Yuna muttered. Yuna, enough. Mireille's voice had an edge now. She turned to me with that too warm smile. Ignore her. She's protective of family, as we all are. Her eyes drifted to the empty chair beside me. Where's little Hana tonight? With her father's. Oh, I was hoping to see her. Babies are so precious, so fragile. The word fragile hung in the air like a threat. Taejun cleared his throat. I could show you around Seoul tomorrow if you want. Help you get oriented. The company headquarters, some cultural sites. That's thoughtful, I said. Not committing. It's the least family can do. His smile was easy, practiced. I know this must be overwhelming. New country, new relatives, everything happening so fast. Every word felt like a probe, testing, measuring, trying to figure out what I knew and what I planned to do. After dinner, I couldn't sleep. The East Wing was more secure, but that didn't mean safe. Not when the threat was already inside the gates. I left Jaehyuk sleeping beside Hana's crib and slipped out with my cane. One of our security guards, not theirs, followed at a distance. The estate was beautiful at night. Traditional lanterns lit stone paths. I found myself walking toward the main house, drawn by something I couldn't name. A side door was unlocked. I went in. The hallways were silent, dark wood and family portraits. I recognized my grandfather in some, tried to find my Omega father's face in others. Then I found it. A door at the end of a quiet corridor. Something made me try the handle. It opened. The room inside took my breath away. It was frozen in time. Teenage boy's bedroom, posters on the walls, books on shelves, clothes still in the closet, and everywhere photos. My Omega father's face, young and smiling, staring back at me from frames on every surface. Fresh flowers sat in a vase by the window. Changed recently. Someone had been maintaining this room like a shrine for 17 years. I walked to the nightstand, hands shaking. There, in a simple frame, was a photograph. 3 people, my Omega father in the center, laughing, and on either side I recognized them immediately even though they were younger. The twins' parents. I picked up the frame with trembling fingers, turned it over. In handwriting I recognized from old letters. My Omega father had written, "The Choi family, the only ones we can trust." June 2007. June 2007. 3 months before he died. My phone was in my hand before I thought about it, taking a picture of the photo and the inscription. Evidence, proof that our families were connected, that my grandfather's cryptic words meant something. I set the frame back carefully. You shouldn't be in here. I spun around. Secretary Lee stood in the doorway, face pale, hands shaking. This room, he whispered. Mr. Kang keeps it locked. No one's allowed. My grandfather gave me permission, I lied. Lee's eyes went to the photo frame. Did you see it? The picture? The one of my father with the Choi family? Yes. All color drained from his face. Then you need to leave Korea. Tonight. Take your family and go. Please. Before they... He stopped abruptly, eyes going wide, looking past me into the hallway. I turned. Great Uncle Siwon stood there in a silk robe, face unreadable in the dim light. Before they what, Jiwoo? He asked softly. Lee's mouth opened. No sound came out. The air felt too thick to breathe. I was standing in a dead man's room with a terrified Omega and a suspect who'd just caught us both. I was just looking for the bathroom, I said, knowing how ridiculous it sounded. Siwon's eyes moved from me to the photo frame to Secretary Lee. This room is kept locked for a reason, he said. Your Omega father's things. Your grandfather can't bear to change anything. It's too painful. I understand. I'll go. Jiwoo, why are you here? Secretary Lee's voice came out strangled. I heard someone. Came to check. How thoughtful. Siwon stepped aside, gesturing to the hallway. Johan, let me walk you back. It's late. Easy to get lost in these old halls. It wasn't a suggestion. I moved past him, Lee following behind, and felt Siwon's presence like a weight between my shoulder blades. Your father and I were close once, Siwon said as we walked. Before he died, he had questions. About the business, about how things were run. I kept my pace steady despite my racing heart. What kind of questions? The kind that get people hurt. I stopped, turned to face him. Are you threatening me? I'm telling you the truth, your grandfather won't. Siwon's expression remained calm. Your father started asking the wrong people the wrong questions. A week later, he was dead. If you're smart, you'll take Jiwoo's advice. Go home to America, live your life. Some inheritances aren't worth dying for. Is that what happened? Someone killed him for asking questions? I'm saying accidents happen, especially to people who don't know when to stop looking. He walked away, leaving me and Secretary Lee standing in the corridor. Lee grabbed my arm, voice desperate. He's right, please, they killed your father, they'll kill you too. Who? I demanded. Who killed him? Lee's eyes filled with tears. I can't. They have my daughter. If I tell you, they'll… Mr. Lee? Aunt Yuna's voice echoed from around the corner. Are you still up? Lee jerked away from me like I'd burned him. Yuna appeared, stopping when she saw us. Interesting. Late-night conversation? I got lost, I said. Her smile was sharp. In a locked wing of the house. How careless. She knew. They all knew I'd been in my father's room, and now they knew I'd seen the photograph. I confronted my husbands at 3 a.m, threw the photo of my dead father with their dead parents on the bed between us. You knew, I said, voice shaking. You knew about my family before you ever met me. So tell me the truth. Did you marry me because you loved me, or because you needed me for something? Jae-hyuk and Min-seo looked at the photo, then at each other, then at me. That look told me everything. How long? My hands were trembling. How long have you known about the Kang connection? Jae-hyuk's voice was quiet. Since before we met you. The room tilted. I gripped the edge of the dresser to stay upright. Our meeting wasn't chance, I said. Not a question, a statement. No, Min-seo admitted. We sought you out. I'd known. Deep down, I'd known something was off from the beginning. The lawsuit that made no sense. The settlement offer that was too generous. The way they'd pursued me despite every reason to walk away. Why? My voice broke. Why me? 3 years ago someone poisoned us, Jae-hyuk said. Left us sterile. We hired investigators to find out who ordered the hit. The trail led to corporate espionage, Min-seo continued. Shell companies, dead ends. Then we found a connection, Kang Corporation. I sank onto the bed, legs giving out. We dug deeper, Jae-hyuk said. Found records of a business partnership from 2007 between our parents and your Omega father. They were working together, I whispered, on something that got them all killed. Min-seo's voice was hard. Your father died in June 2007. Our parents died 6 months later in a car crash, all ruled accidents. But our investigators found it suspicious. 3 business partners, 3 deaths, all within 6 months. Jae-hyuk pulled out his phone, showed me documents. We kept digging. Found out your Omega father had a son, Johan Kang, 22 years old, living in California. My stomach turned. You investigated me. We needed to know if you were involved, Min-seo said. If you knew what your father discovered, if you were a threat. A threat. I laughed bitterly. I was surviving, barely. Working jobs that destroyed my body. And you thought I was a threat? We didn't know, Jae-hyuk said. Not until we actually met you. Then we realized you had no idea about any of it. You were just trying to live. So the lawsuit was an excuse to get close to you, Min-seo finished. To investigate without raising suspicion. And the marriage? My voice came out raw. Was that part of the investigation too? No. Jae-hyuk moved toward me, but I held up a hand, stopping him. The investigation was before. The marriage was real. How am I supposed to believe that? You've been lying to me from the start. We fell in love with you, Min-seo said desperately. That wasn't fake. That was never fake. But you didn't tell me the truth. Didn't trust me enough to… My voice broke completely. Silence fell, heavy and suffocating. What did my father discover? I finally asked. What got him killed? Jae-hyuk sat carefully on the edge of the bed, not touching me. June 2007. There was a business dinner. Your father, our parents, and one other person we haven't identified yet. The topic was corporate fraud. Your Omega father found evidence of embezzlement and illegal operations at Kang Corporation. He planned to go to the authorities. They killed him for that? 1 week after that dinner, he was dead. Sudden illness. Doctors said it was natural. Min-seo's hands clenched. Our parents kept investigating. 6 months later, car crash. Brakes failed. I looked at the photo again. My Omega father's young face, smiling, arm around people who would be dead within a year. Someone at that dinner betrayed them, I said slowly. The fourth person, the one whose face is scratched out. We think so, Jae-hyuk confirmed. We've been trying to identify them for 3 years. That's why we needed to get close to your family. To find out who was at that dinner and who had reason to kill. And you used me to do it. We were trying to protect you, Min-seo said. If you knew about the danger, I deserved the truth. I stood up, anger finally breaking through the hurt. You think I haven't survived danger before? You think I don't know how to fight? We know you do, Jae-hyuk said quietly. We've seen it. But this is different. This is someone who's been killing people for 18 years and getting away with it. Someone who poisoned you 3 years ago when you got too close, I said, understanding dawning. Someone who knew you were investigating. Yes. And someone who tried to kill Hana 2 nights ago because we came to Seoul asking questions. Yes. I looked at my husbands. At the men I'd trusted with everything. Who'd held me when I broke. Who'd loved me when I couldn't love myself. Who'd given me Hana. Who'd been lying to me about why they were really there. I'm still angry, I said. I'm furious that you didn't tell me. That you made this choice for me. I know, Min-seo said. But I understand why you did it. I met their eyes. And I understand that whoever killed my father also killed your parents. That makes this personal for all of us. What are you saying? Jae-hyuk asked. I'm saying stop protecting me and start treating me as a partner. Tell me everything from now on. No more secrets. No more secrets. They both agreed. And we find whoever did this. My voice steadied. We find them and we make them pay for what they took from us. Jae-hyuk pulled out his laptop. We have the original photo, high resolution. We might be able to restore the scratched section. See who the fourth person was. How long will that take? Few hours, maybe less. Min-seo was already pulling up files. We also have financial records, communication logs, everything our investigators gathered over 3 years. We just need to... Jae-hyuk's phone buzzed. He looked at the screen and his face changed. What? I asked. He turned it toward me. A message from an unknown number. A photo loaded slowly. A young woman, early 20s, tied to a chair, tape over her mouth, eyes wide with terror. I'd never seen her before, but I knew who she was. Secretary Lee's daughter. Below the image, stop investigating. Johan goes home to America, 24 hours or she dies. Then Hana. My blood went cold. They took her, I whispered. They actually kidnapped her. To silence Lee, Min-seo said grimly. He knows something, and now they're making sure he can't tell us. My phone buzzed. Different message, same unknown number. Just 2 words. Ask Siwon. I showed the twins. Ask Siwon what? Min-seo said. Jae-hyuk stared at the message. About the fourth person, about who was at that dinner. You think he knows? I think, Jae-hyuk said slowly. Whoever sent this is telling us Siwon was there. He was the fourth person. My great-uncle. The man who'd been running Kang Corporation for 20 years, who had the most to lose if I inherited. Who'd warned me that asking questions got people hurt. A knock at our door made us all freeze. Security checked through the peephole. It's Secretary Lee. We opened the door. Lee stood there, tears streaming down his face, phone shaking in his hand. They have my daughter, he sobbed. They sent me the same photo. Said if I don't convince you to leave Korea by morning, they'll kill her. He looked at me with desperate eyes. Please, I'll tell you everything. Every secret I've kept for 30 years. Just help me save her first. Secretary Lee collapsed into our room, barely able to stand. Your Omega father kept a journal, he gasped between sobs. Everything he found, it's all written down. The fraud, the names, the proof. I hid it after he died. I was too scared to destroy it, too scared to reveal it. He grabbed my arm with shaking hands. It's in the shrine room, hidden in the floorboards beneath his bed. Please, get it, use it. Just save my daughter. Jae-hyuk was already moving. Where exactly? Northeast corner. Third board from the wall. Lee's voice broke. He showed me the hiding place a week before he died. Said if anything happened to him, someone needed to know the truth. Why didn't you use it? I demanded. Why hide it for 17 years? Because they killed him for writing it. Lee looked at me with hollow eyes. And they would have killed me too, killed my daughter. I was a coward. I stayed silent, and now she's paying for it. Min-seo checked his watch. We have 22 hours until their deadline. The journal's leverage, Jae-hyuk said. We trade it for her life. No, Lee shook his head violently. You don't understand. They have people everywhere. Police, prosecutors, judges. Your Omega father tried going through official channels. That's why he's dead. Then what do we do? I asked. Get the journal, photograph every page, then offer the original as trade. Lee wiped his face. But keep the copies. Use them to destroy whoever did this. 20 minutes later, we were in the shrine room again. My security stood guard outside while the twins and I pulled up floorboards beneath my Omega father's bed. The wood was old, protesting as we pried it loose. There, a metal box wedged between the beams. My hands shook as I lifted it out. Inside, a leather journal, weathered and worn, a USB drive, documents in a sealed envelope. I opened the journal. My Omega father's handwriting filled the pages. Neat, precise, damning. He documented everything, Min-seo breathed, reading over my shoulder. Dates, names, numbers, shell companies moving money, bribes to government officials, falsified reports, criminal operations disguised as legitimate business. And one name appeared over and over, Kang Si-won. My great-uncle, the man who'd been running the company for 20 years, who'd smiled at me across the dinner table, who'd warned me that asking questions got people hurt. He killed my father, I whispered. Jae-hyuk was photographing pages rapidly. Si-won orchestrated everything, used your grandfather's trust to steal from the company for decades. The journal entries grew more urgent toward the end. The 10th of June, 2007. Confirmed embezzlement totals over 500 million. Si-won has been doing this for at least 15 years. Going to authorities tomorrow. The 12th of June, 2007. Police contact was paid off, warned Si-won. Need different approach. June 15, 2007. Meeting with Choi family tonight. They've agreed to help. Together we have enough evidence to take him down. Dinner at the usual place. Finally going to end this. The next entry was dated June 16th. One day after the dinner, someone at dinner told Si-won, don't know who, can't trust anyone, received threat tonight. They know about this journal, moving it to hiding place tomorrow. If anything happens to me, the truth is here. Protect Johan. Keep him away from this family. That was the last entry. 2 days later, my Omega father was dead. He knew, I said, voice cracking. He knew someone at that dinner betrayed him. That's why he hid this. The fourth person in the photo, Min-seo said. Whoever scratched out their face, they're the one who warned Si-won. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. Have you made your decision? Time is running out. I showed the twins. We trade the journal for Lee's daughter, I said. It's a trap, Jae-hyuk warned. They'll kill whoever shows up. I know. I looked at him steadily. That's why I'm offering more than the journal. I'll offer to leave Korea, give up my inheritance claim, walk away from everything. Johan, it's what they want anyway, me gone, out of the picture. I typed a response. They get the journal, I get Lee's daughter back safely, and I disappear. Everyone wins. The reply came instantly. Yongsan Factory. Dawn, come alone. A knock made us all turn. Uncle Taejun stood in the doorway. I know what you found, he said quietly. I moved in front of the journal instinctively. Relax. Taejun held up his hands. I'm not here to stop you. I'm here to help. Why would you help us? Minseo asked coldly. Your father is the one behind everything. Exactly. Taejun's face was grim. My father, the man I've watched run this company my whole life. I've suspected for years something was wrong. Money disappearing, people asking questions and then suddenly stopping, but I had no proof. He looked at the journal in my hands. Now you have proof, and I want him to pay for what he's done. You expect us to trust you? Jae-hyuk said. No, but you need me. Taejun pulled out his phone. I have access to my father's schedule, his security, his communications. I can help you stay ahead of him. I studied my uncle's face, searching for deception. Why now? I asked. Why not years ago? Because he's my father. Because I wanted to believe he was better than this. Taejun's voice broke. But he's not. And now an innocent girl is going to die because of his secrets. I can't let that happen. We decided to send Lee to the exchange, wired, tracked, twins security following at a distance. I stayed behind with Hana, too dangerous to risk leaving her. Lee left at dawn with a copy of the journal. The real one stayed hidden. Hours crawled by. No word. Then Taejun called. You need to come to the river, now. We arrived to find police tape. Crowd gathering. Body being pulled from the water. I knew before I saw the face. Uncle Taejun. My knees gave out. Minseo caught me before I hit the ground. No, I whispered. No, we just talked to him. But it was him. Pale and still and dead. Suicide, a police officer was saying. Jumped from the bridge. That's not suicide. Jae-hyuk's voice was ice. Look at the marks on his neck. The officer frowned. Sir, you need to step back. He was murdered. Minseo pulled out his phone. And I can prove it. He called us 20 minutes ago. Great-uncle Siwon arrived then, face perfectly composed in grief. My son. He moved toward the body. Who would do this? But his eyes were cold, calculating. Aunt Yuna appeared next, expression unreadable. People keep dying around you, Johan. First your father, then Taejun. Funny how that works. Yuna, that's enough, Great-Aunt Mireille snapped, though her own eyes were sharp on me. The police started questioning everyone. Where were we? What did we know? Why did Taejun call us? I played dumb, shocked, grieving. But my mind was racing. Taejun had discovered something. Something that got him killed. His last text was still on my phone, sent 5 minutes before he died. Check the shrine. Your father left. The message cut off there, never finished. What had my Omega father left? We already found the journal, unless there was something else. The police sealed the estate as a crime scene, no one in or out without permission, which meant I couldn't get back to the shrine room, not without raising suspicion. I waited until midnight, everyone finally asleep or pretending to be, slipped out with Minseo while Jae-hyuk stayed with Hana. The shrine room door was wrapped in police tape. We ducked under it. Searched everywhere Taejun might have looked. Behind photos, under floorboards we'd already checked, inside books. Minseo found it. Behind the bookshelf. Another hidden compartment. Inside, a second journal. But the handwriting was different. Feminine, elegant. I opened to the first page. If you're reading this, I'm already dead. My name is Choi Yuna, and I'm about to tell you who really ordered the murders. My blood went cold. Your mother, I whispered. Minseo took the journal with shaking hands. She knew who killed your father. I turned pages carefully. Her entries were detailed, dated, following her own investigation after my Omega father's death. Then I reached the crucial entry. The person orchestrating everything isn't Kang Si-won. He's just the weapon, The real mastermind is. The rest of the page was torn out. Someone had found this journal before us, destroyed the evidence, but they'd missed something. Taped to the inside back cover. A photograph. Not from the dinner, from earlier, maybe months before. My Omega father, the twins' parents, and the fourth person, face clear this time, unscratched, unmistakable, Secretary Lee. I stared at the photo, mind refusing to process what I was seeing. Lee, Mincio said, voice dead. It was Lee the whole time, but he's the one who told us about the journal. Who? I stopped. Lee's daughter was kidnapped to silence him, to make sure he didn't talk. Except what if that was a lie? What if Lee orchestrated everything? What if his daughter was never in danger at all? My phone buzzed. Unknown number. A photo loaded. Lee's daughter, smiling, safe, sitting in what looked like a cafe. Today's newspaper visible on the table beside her. Below the image, looking for her? She's fine, always was. Her father sends his regards. By the way, where's your baby right now? I was running before I finished reading. Mincio right behind me. Back to our room. Security standing guard outside. Hana? I gasped. Inside with Jae-hyuk, the guard said. No one's been. I shoved past him. The room was dark. Too dark. Jae-hyuk? No answer. Light switch. On. Jae-hyuk on the floor. Unconscious. Breathing but not waking. And Hana's crib. Empty. Hana was gone. Jae-hyuk unconscious on the floor, blood matting his hair. And my phone buzzing with one final message. Secretary Lee has your daughter. Factory in Yongsan. 1 hour. Come alone or she dies. I looked at Mincio standing in the doorway, face white with shock. I'm going, I said. It's a trap. I don't care. He has my baby. The next hour was chaos. Medical team for Jae-hyuk. Security mobilizing. Mincio arguing. I'm coming with you, he said for the 5th time. No. I was already heading for the door, he said alone. I won't risk Hana. And I won't let you die. We compromised. I'd go in alone. He'd follow at a distance with the security team. Jae-hyuk woke as I was leaving, tried to stand, nearly fell. I failed, he said, voice breaking. I let him take her. I knelt beside him. Stay here. Coordinate with Mincio. I need you both alive to raise our daughter when I bring her home. His eyes widened, understanding what I wasn't saying, that I might not come back. You return to us, he said fiercely. All of you. That's an order. The factory was exactly what I expected. Abandoned. Isolated. Perfect place for murder. I left security at the perimeter and walked in alone. My cane echoed on concrete. No pretense now, just a disabled Omega walking into a trap to save his child. Secretary Lee waited in the center of the empty space, holding Hana. She was crying, scared but alive. Unharmed. Give me my daughter, I said. First, we talk. Lee's voice was steady, resigned. You need to understand why. Why you murdered my father. Yes. He told me everything. How Siwon recruited him 30 years ago, offered money, protection for his daughter, how he helped embezzle millions. How when my Omega father discovered it, Siwon ordered Lee to kill him. I poisoned him, Lee said flatly. Made it look like illness. Then, 6 months later, your husband's parents kept investigating. Siwon had me arrange their accident too. My hands shook with rage. And now you want forgiveness? No. I want to save one life before I die. He looked at Hana. Siwon ordered me to kill you both tonight. I finally refused, so he threatened my daughter for real this time. Then, why bring me here? To warn you. Siwon is coming. He thinks I'm killing you right now. When he arrives and finds you alive, he'll kill us both. The factory doors slammed open. Great Uncle Siwon walked in with 4 armed men. He saw me holding Hana, saw Lee standing aside. Jiwoo, I'm disappointed. I'm done, Lee said quietly. No more killing for you. Siwon's smile was cold. Then you die with them. His men raised their guns. I backed up, clutching Hana against my chest. No way out, surrounded. But my phone was on, line open. Minseo hearing everything. You killed your son, I said, needing Siwon to keep talking, to give Minseo time to get here. Taejun betrayed me. Chose you over family. Siwon's voice was casual. I killed him the same way I killed your father. Poetic, don't you think? And my grandfather? Next on the list. He's outlived his usefulness. Siwon gestured to his men. Kill them all. Lee lunged, tackled Siwon just as guns fired. Run! Lee shouted, and I ran. Bullets hit concrete around me, my legs screaming, Hana wailing against my chest. The doors burst open. Minseo and security pouring in, returning fire. I dove behind machinery, covering Hana with my body. Gunfire. Shouting. Chaos. Then silence. I looked up. Siwon's men were down, surrendering. But Siwon himself backed toward an exit, gun raised at Minseo. It's over, Minseo said coldly. Police are coming. Siwon laughed. You think this ends with me? I'm not the only one. He looked directly at me. Your grandfather knew about all of it. From the beginning. Who do you think told me to kill your father? The words hit like bullets. Liar, I whispered. Ask him yourself. Siwon raised his gun. Not at Minseo. At me. The shot echoed through the factory. But I wasn't hit. Siwon staggered, blood blooming across his chest. Behind him, Great Aunt Mireille stood with a gun, hands shaking. You killed my nephew, she said. You killed Taejun. You've killed enough. Siwon fell to his knees, blood on his lips. With his last breath, he looked at Mireille and smiled. 30 years, he whispered. 30 years you helped me. And now you kill me? He collapsed, dead. I stared at Mireille, at the gun in her hands, at the expression on her face. Not shock, satisfaction. What did he mean? I asked. 30 years? She looked at me, smiled. He means I've been stealing from this family longer than he has. And now that he's gone, there's no one left to share the profits with. She raised the gun toward me. Minseo moved, but too slow. Another shot rang out. Mireille's gun flew from her hand. She screamed, clutching her arm. Aunt Yuna stood in the doorway, holding a rifle. That's enough, Yuna said coldly. She looked at me. I'm not letting her kill my family too. Police sirens wailed outside. Lee was dead. Siwon was dead. Mireille alive but wounded and screaming denials. And I held my daughter, finally safe, finally breathing again. But Siwon's words echoed. Your grandfather knew. My grandfather was awake when we arrived at the hospital. Sitting up in bed, oxygen tubes gone, eyes clear and sharp. He'd been dying for weeks. Suddenly he looked stronger than ever. Harabioji, I said, voice shaking. Siwon said you knew, that you told him to kill my father. Tell me he was lying. My grandfather looked at me for a long moment, then said the words that shattered everything. He wasn't lying. I ordered your Omega father's death, and I'd do it again. The room tilted. Minseo's hand on my shoulder was the only thing keeping me upright. Why? The word came out broken. He was your son. Because he was going to destroy everything I built. My grandfather's voice was steady. No remorse, no guilt. 30 years I spent building Kang Corporation. Bribes, fraud, whatever it took. Your father discovered the truth and threatened to expose me. So you killed him. I ordered Siwon to silence him. I didn't specify how. He met my eyes. But I didn't stop him either when I learned what he'd done. Jaehyuk stepped forward. You murdered our parents too. They kept investigating after your Omega father died. Found evidence. We're going to go public. My grandfather's expression didn't change. I gave them a chance to walk away. They refused. So yes, I ordered their deaths. I couldn't breathe, couldn't process. The man in this bed had orchestrated everything, every death, every lie, and he felt nothing. Why bring me here? I demanded. Why search for me if you killed my father? Guilt, regret, old age making me sentimental. He gestured weakly. And I'm dying. The company needs an heir. Siwon was stealing from me. Mireille was too ambitious. You were the only family left with actual Kang blood. You want me to take over the company you built on murder? I want you to make something of it. Clean it up if that makes you feel better. He reached for a folder on the bedside table. Despite everything, you're still my heir. Take it. All of it. Just let me die in peace. Peace? I laughed bitterly. You think you deserve peace? I think I deserve to not spend my final days in prison. I looked at the folder. At the empire built on my father's blood. At the twins standing beside me. At Hana sleeping in Jaehyuk's arms. No, I said. My grandfather's eyes narrowed. No? I'll take the company. I'll use my father's journal and every piece of evidence we have to make it legitimate. I stepped closer to his bed. But you don't get peace. You get justice. I'm testifying against you. You're going to prison for what you did. Silence fell. Then my grandfather laughed. Actually laughed. You're just like him. Stubborn, idealistic, foolish. He shook his head. Fine, prosecute me. I'll be dead before trial anyway. He pulled another envelope from beneath his pillow. But before you destroy everything, you might want to read this. Your Omega father's real will. Not the forged version Siwon showed everyone. My hands shook as I took it. The document was old. Dated 1 week before my father died. I read it once. Then again. The words not making sense. This says he left everything to his son and his spouse. Yes, but my alpha father, they were already divorced by then. Not that spouse. My grandfather's smile was cruel. Your Omega father remarried, secretly, 4 months before he died. The room spun. That's impossible. I would have known. Someone would have. Read the name, my grandfather interrupted. I looked down at the document. Spouse, Kang Yuna. No, I whispered. Yes. My grandfather pressed the call button beside his bed. The door opened. Aunt Yuna walked in. But she wasn't wearing her usual designer clothes. Just simple jeans and a sweater. And her face, there was something different about it. Older, tired. I'm not Mireille's daughter, she said quietly, looking directly at me. I'm 35, not 28. I've been lying about my age, hiding in this family for 17 years. She pulled a folded paper from her pocket, unfolded it carefully. A marriage certificate, yellowed with age, dated March 2007. Kang Daejung's son, and Kang Yuna. I'm your Omega father's widow, she said. We married secretly because your grandfather would never have approved. I was 18, he was 40. An Omega marrying an Omega. I stared at her, at this woman I'd thought was my aunt, who'd been cold to me since I arrived. After Siwon killed him, I had to hide. Mireille helped me fake an identity as her daughter, younger, safer. No one would suspect a 20-something of being his widow. You've been here the whole time, I said, watching me, and you said nothing. I was waiting to see what kind of man you were, if you were like your grandfather or like your father. Her eyes softened slightly. You're like him, your Omega father, willing to fight even when it costs you everything. She held out the marriage certificate. This is legal, registered, which means I own 50% of everything your father left behind, half of his shares in Kang Corporation, half of his estate, half of your inheritance. My grandfather was smiling now, enjoying this. So before you prosecute me and tear down the company, you might want to negotiate with your stepmother. She has veto power over everything you plan to do. Yuna looked at my grandfather with disgust, then back at me. He thinks this will stop you, that I'll side with him to protect my inheritance. She stepped closer, but he's wrong. I loved your father, and I've waited 17 years for someone brave enough to make his killers pay. She met my eyes. I'll sign over my 50% to you. All of it. On one condition. What condition? You let me testify too, against all of them. Your grandfather, Mire, everyone who helped kill my husband. Her voice hardened. And you let me tell you the truth about what your Omega father discovered, the real reason they killed him. I know why. The embezzlement, the fraud. That's what they wanted him to think. Yuna glanced at my grandfather. But your father found something worse, something that makes the financial crimes look insignificant. My grandfather's smile had vanished. Yuna, don't. Tell him, she said to the old man. Tell him what the company was really doing, or I will. Silence. Then my grandfather's face went cold. It doesn't matter what you tell him. You have no proof. Your husband burned it all before he died. No, Yuna said quietly. He gave it to someone he trusted, someone who's kept it safe for 17 years, someone who's ready to hand it over to Johan right now. She pulled out her phone, made a call. Come in, she said. The hospital room door opened, and Secretary Lee's daughter walked in, alive, unharmed, holding a metal briefcase. Hello, Johan, she said. I'm Min Soyeon. I've been waiting a long time to give this to you. She opened the briefcase. Inside were files, photographs, USB drives, evidence. Your Omega father gave this to my father the day before he died, Soyeon said. Told him if anything happened, keep it safe until his son was old enough to use it. I looked at Yuna, at Soyeon, at the evidence. What is it? Yuna's voice was steel. Proof that Kang Corporation isn't just guilty of fraud. It's been trafficking humans for 30 years. I opened the first file in the briefcase, saw names, dates, photographs, children, teenagers, adults, all marked with prices. My grandfather built his empire on stolen lives. How many? I asked, voice hollow. Yuna looked at the evidence, then at me. Thousands. Over 30 years. Your Omega father was going to expose all of it. That's why they killed him. The hospital room was silent, except for my grandfather's labored breathing. He wasn't denying it. Wasn't even trying to lie anymore. We go to the authorities, I said. Right now, all of it. Local police won't help, Yuna said. He owns too many of them. Then, we don't go local. Jae-hyuk was already on his phone. International Criminal Court, FBI, Interpol. We hit them from every direction at once. Min-seo pulled out his laptop. I'll contact our media connections. New York Times, BBC, Al Jazeera. Release everything simultaneously. They can't suppress it if the whole world is watching. My grandfather finally spoke, voice weak but vicious. You'll destroy the company. Thousands of legitimate employees will lose their jobs. Your inheritance will be worthless. Good, I said. I don't want blood money. Your father was a fool, and you're just like him. He coughed, machine beeping faster. You'll regret this. I looked at the old man in the bed, the monster who'd ordered my Omega father's murder, who'd built an empire on human suffering. My father was brave, I said quietly. And I'm proud to be like him. I walked out. Didn't look back. The next 72 hours were chaos. Coordinated releases across multiple countries. Evidence uploaded to secure servers, distributed to law enforcement agencies and media outlets simultaneously. My grandfather was arrested in his hospital bed. Mire was charged with additional trafficking offenses on top of attempted murder. Documents were unsealed. Names were named. The full scope of the operation laid bare for the world to see. Kang Corporation's stock collapsed. I didn't care. What I cared about was the number Yuna showed me. 847. That's how many trafficking victims they'd identified so far from the evidence. Living people who could finally be found. Helped. Brought home. There are probably more, Yuna said. Records were destroyed. People who were never documented. Then we find them, I said, however long it takes. The media tried to paint me as complicit at first. Heir to trafficking empire. Born into blood money. Then the full story came out. How I'd exposed it all. Destroyed my own inheritance. Chose justice over wealth. public opinion shifted. Disabled Omega takes down criminal dynasty. I didn't care about that either. I cared about the message I received 2 weeks after the arrests. From a woman in Thailand. You found my sister. She's been missing for 8 years. She's coming home because of you. Thank you. That's what mattered. Kang Corporation had to be rebuilt from the ground up. I became chairman. The twins merged Obsidian Capital into the company, became co-CEOs. Our first action, shut down every operation connected to trafficking. Second, establish victim compensation fund. Third, complete financial transparency. We lost money, a lot of money. Stock value crashed. Investors fled. I slept better than I had in years. Yuna signed her 50% inheritance over to me officially. Your father wanted you to have everything, she said. So do I. You could have kept it. Been a billionaire. I don't want money I watched my husband die for. She looked at me steadily. I want to help the people he died trying to save. She became head of our victim advocacy program, used company resources to find survivors, provide counseling, job training, housing. Soyeon joined us too, head of ethics and compliance. My father spent 30 years helping criminals, she said. I'll spend the rest of my life making sure this company never goes corrupt again. 6 months after the arrests, I visited my Omega father's grave for the first time. In Korea, where he'd been buried before I even knew this country existed, I brought Hana. She was too young to understand, but I wanted her to meet the grandfather she'd never know. This is your Haraboji, I told her, kneeling beside the headstone. He died trying to save people. He was brave and good, and everything I want you to grow up to be. Hana patted the stone with her tiny hand. Yuna appeared beside me, laying flowers. He'd be so proud of you, she said quietly. I wish I'd known him. You do know him. You're exactly like him. She smiled sadly. Stubborn, idealistic, willing to lose everything for what's right. We stood there in silence for a while. Then Yuna spoke again. Your grandfather died this morning. In prison. I waited for something to feel. Grief, relief, anything, but there was nothing. Just emptiness where family should have been. Good, I finally said. 1 year after everything, I stood in the Kang Corporation boardroom, the same room where my grandfather had ruled for decades, where he'd made decisions that destroyed thousands of lives. Now it was different, clean, transparent, legitimate. Jae-hyuk presented quarterly reports. Profits were down but honest. Min-seo outlined expansion plans, ethical, sustainable, legal. Yuna shared victim support updates. 847 survivors found, 312 reunited with families, 519 receiving ongoing support. Soyeon reported compliance status, 0 violations, complete transparency maintained. And I sat at the head of the table with Hana playing quietly beside me, feeling something I hadn't felt in years. Peace. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. My stomach dropped, conditioned to fear anonymous messages after everything we'd been through. But this one was different. Thank you. You saved my daughter from trafficking ring last month. She's home now because of you. You gave our family back. A grateful father. I showed it to the twins. Jae-hyuk smiled. Min-seo squeezed my hand. That's why we do this, Min-seo said. Ready? Jae-hyuk asked, checking his watch. The press conference started in 10 minutes, 1-year anniversary of exposing the trafficking operation. We were announcing expanded victim support programs and international partnerships. I stood, picked up Hana, adjusted my grip on my cane, looked around the table at my family. Not the one I was born into, the one I built, the one I chose. Yuna, who'd loved my Omega father and waited 17 years for justice. Soyeon, who'd lost her father but gained a purpose. Jae-hyuk and Min-seo, who'd married me for investigation and stayed for love. And Hana, growing up surrounded by people who chose right over easy. Let's go, I said. We walked into the press room together, cameras flashing, questions shouting, the world watching. I stepped up to the podium. began speaking about the work we'd done, the lives we'd changed, the mission that would never end as long as people were being exploited. And for the first time since this whole nightmare began, I felt like I was exactly where I was supposed to be. Not running from my past, not hiding from my trauma, not ashamed of surviving, just standing in the light, telling the truth, and using everything I'd been through to help others. My Omega father had died trying to save people. I was finishing what he started. And I'd keep going until every single person stolen by my family's greed was found and brought home. That was his legacy. And now, it was mine. The end. If you've ever been betrayed by family or hurt by people you trusted, you're not alone. You survived. That makes you stronger than you know. Like if this story moved you. Comment your favorite moment. Subscribe for more stories about justice, healing, and found family. Your story isn't over yet. Keep fighting.